Is Warzone killing off Modern Warfare weapons? This is a question that lots of people are talking about right now, and I've had this question asked to me repeatedly. And today I'm bringing you guys all of the facts, statistics, and information from even Activision's terms of services to talk about this issue and why it might mean the end of Modern Warfare weapons. Looking at the top 20 weapons in Warzone at the moment in terms of their selection rate, there are only 7 Modern Warfare weapons in the top 20. And whilst that might sound like a reasonable amount, every single one of those 7 weapons is both declining in popularity and pick rate, and also has a better Cold War counterpart on paper. For example, the Swiss K31 is technically a better Kar 98 at this point. The AMAX is just a budget version of the Cold War AK, the Kilo 141 is a budget Farah 83, the Grau 556 is just a budget Krig, and if you go on, there's even more, with the Ram 7 basically being a weaker version of the C58, and it really is only a matter of time for the average player to realize these changes, and the top 20 weapons of the game will most likely be dominated by Cold War selections. There are 3 critical reasons for why this is happening, and possibly even 4. To start with, every single Cold War weapon in the game is more mobile than its Modern Warfare counterpart. You have faster movement speed, faster attack sprint recovery, faster ADS speeds, faster ADS movement speeds, and faster strafing speeds. And if you play Warzone aggressively like most people try to do, then ultimately you don't want slow weapons in your hands. The next major reason is that damage drop-off doesn't really exist on Cold War weapons. For example, the Farah 83 and the Kilo 141 are a recent comparison that I made between the two weapons, calling the Farah 83 the new Kilo. And in theory you could argue that the Krig is also a new sort of Kilo 141 style weapon. But what makes no sense about these guns is that at the same range there is a huge disparity between the time to kill. The Farah 83 starts off at around a 600 millisecond time to kill, and only really increases to about an 800 to 850 time to kill over 120 or 100 meters. Now, if you look at the Kilo 141 in comparison's sake, the Kilo 141 reaches nearly 1000 milliseconds of time to kill at the same range, a huge drop off, and the picture is the same across the board for every single gun in the game. Cold War weapons tend to lose around 200 milliseconds of time to kill at range, whereas Modern Warfare weapons tend to lose 300 to 400 milliseconds of time to kill at range because they just were more balanced and they made more sense. And Modern Warfare weapons tried to enforce the idea that medium range is possible, but it's possible with the penalty of lots of ammunition usage and a slower time to kill to allow the enemy player to react. The same issue simply doesn't exist in Cold War weapons, and there is less time to react and less ammo penalty. The third major reason is that all Cold War weapons are now more accurate than Modern Warfare counterparts at range. The new barrel changes and new attachment changes essentially mean that every single Cold War gun has no recoil and is just a flat out laser beam. Any single medium-range LMG or assault rifle in the game is simply better. The MG82, the Farah 83, the Krig, the XM4, anything in between, even the new C58 for example. All of these guns simply offer no recoil, and because of that their pick rate is steadily increasing. And the final reason is that every single Cold War weapon in the game that's introduced seems to be ridiculously overpowered. And I'll be honest with you, I've kind of reached a point with this where I do agree with the general consensus that this is happening deliberately. I feel as though they are introducing these weapons to be more overpowered so that people buy skins or buy the battle pass and try to unlock them as fast as possible, and then nerf them 2 to 3 or 4 weeks later. I feel like this is a serious issue in the game that needs to be addressed because there hasn't been a single Cold War weapon release where at least one of the guns hasn't been considerably broken, and broken to the extent that it's going to be overused and overutilized. The best example this time round is both the MG and the new nail gun. The MG is just flat out ridiculous and allegedly is going to be nerfed, but the new nail gun is even more ridiculous and actually has more damage potential in a magazine than something like a Mag 10. Even though it has a slow rate of fire, low bullet velocity and a short mag, you can in theory actually kill 4 people in a single magazine of a nail gun. And I'm sort of done making excuses here and saying that, this is a testing issue or a problem. I'm kind of convinced now that this is a concentrated effort to get people to buy season passes and cosmetics to access these weapons quicker. So are Modern Warfare weapons being thrown out of the game? Now, allegedly Raven Software are doing an overhaul of the Modern Warfare weapons, and I don't really know why, because if anything, it's the Cold War weapons that need overhauling. Modern Warfare weapons are balanced in the game. They have penalties for ammunition, they have mobility penalties, and they don't work too good at excessive ranges, and there's a reason for that. It's so people can react and not feel like they're being beamed instantly. Every Cold War weapon is the weapon in mind that really should be overhauled, but I guess that's a whole nother conversation, and ultimately if Raven Software is listening to this video, they seriously need to reconsider the fact that maybe they broke the Cold War weapons, rather than the Modern Warfare weapons not working as intended. Now, we're yet to see what this overhaul intends, and it could be that they are trying to rebalance the game to reintroduce Modern Warfare weapons in the game and make sure that they're decent. However, there are some theories running against this. And to start with, you have to bear in mind that there is a new Call of Duty on the way, and undoubtedly Activision is going to shove it into Warzone, have a new map for it, integrate all the weapons, skins, everything, the works. And you have to wonder if 3 different games' sets of weapons can really work in the same Battle Royale environment. You know, you're possibly looking in and around the region of 30 to 40 assault rifles, possibly even more, you know, more LMGs, more snipers, and just things that simply don't seem to make a lot of sense. And balancing all of it's going to be an absolute nightmare to begin with, and even more so, having so many assets in a single game can be really problematic. It also poses a larger balancing issue if you think about it, because if the next game is rumoured to be World War II or post-World War II, then you're looking at slower fire rate weapons, and those slower fire rate weapons would suffer if compared to the hands of a Modern Warfare weapon. So I do really think it's only a matter of time before the Modern Warfare weapons are written out of Warzone, and my reasoning for that is down to the Activision Terms of Services. Now, if you've never seen the Terms of Services for a digital game before, you'll be surprised about how much of it you actually really own. This is an actual extract from the Activision Terms of Use, and it says, "You acknowledge and agree that other than the license granted to you by this agreement, you'll have no ownership or other property interest in any product or service provided content, including without any limitation, any virtual goods." And what that essentially means is that you are given a license to these products, and Activision can revoke that license if it feels necessary. You don't own any of the virtual skins or virtual things in-game that you buy. It also says that you further acknowledge and agree that to the fullest extent permitted by applicable law, all rights in and to such products and service provided content are and shall forever be owned and inure to the benefit of Activision and its licensors, which effectively means that if something is hurting Activision's bottom line, like something being massively underbalanced and really critically destroying Warzone because 3 sets of weapons are in a single game, then Activision have full rights to revoke licenses to that service provided content, and it's owned by Activision, and it's only owned for the benefit of Activision. So legally speaking, yes, it is entirely possible that if Activision wanted to get rid of all the Modern Warfare weapons, then all those Modern Warfare skins that you had bought for those guns wouldn't really matter, and they'd just disappear. Now, character skins would likely stay because, well, why not? You know, there isn't really a major issue with that. We've got people running around in rainbow suits, but weapons may very well disappear from the game, and of course Activision would likely offer tokens or, I don't know, a couple battle passes or something to kind of make up for this, I guess. Though legally speaking, they're under no obligation to do any of that. We're really going to have to wait and see what this whole overhaul is coming from Raven Software to really decide if this is happening or not, but ultimately I do feel as though Warzone is heading to a trajectory where they are going to have to get rid of Modern Warfare weapons. And I honestly, to be honest with you and to be kind of frank with you guys, I feel like they have to, because having lots and lots and lots and lots of weapons in a game is not good for balancing. Especially 3 sets of assault rifles, 3 sets of LMGs, 3 sets of snipers, SMGs. It's going to become a pretty big mess, I feel. I'm interested to know your thoughts and feelings around all of this in the comment section below. Feel free to leave a like, leave a sub, and I'll catch you again in the next one.